The Larapinta Trail is known for its wide-ranging temperatures, which is why layering is so important. Clothing is one of the easiest places to save weight, not just by buying expensive gear, but simply by taking less of it. But to do this safely, you need to take the right layers. It's easier to take clothes that work at both extremes, but it's trickier to build a system that actually works at all the possible temperatures in between. I take one set of clothes to hike in and one dry set of clothes for camp and sleeping, along with warm insulation and waterproof layers. After the first day, you're going to be dirty regardless, so changing clothes doesn't really help. Choosing the correct materials for each layer is incredibly important though. I personally love merino, which is naturally odor resistant in the first place. For hiking, I wear lightweight running shorts, a merino t-shirt, merino underwear, and merino socks. You may prefer pants and a sun hoodie or sun shirt though, and in fact, some way to protect against the sun is a great idea for a track like the Larapinta. Plenty of people also prefer synthetic to merino due to it drying more quickly. My personal opinion is that merino is more comfortable, less smelly, and if your rain gear is up to scratch, your base layers should stay mostly dry, so this shouldn't be too much of an issue. It also regulates the temperature really well, even when wet. For camp and sleeping, I carry a dry set of merino base layers, usually around 200 GSM, along with spare socks and underwear. For the Larapinta, I took 2 pairs of undies and 3 pairs of socks. I would wear 1 pair of underwear while hiking and save 1 for camp, and would rotate between my 2 hiking socks each day. Whenever I reached a body of water I could rinse them in, I'd rinse the dirtier pair of socks and wear the other pair until they dried. That way, I would always have a cleanish pair of socks to hike in and 1 for camp. On the Larapinta Trail, there are 2 places with showers, and one of these even has a washing machine. These come at Stanley Chasm and Ormiston Gorge, between section 3 and 4 and section 9 and 10. These are both great opportunities to wash your clothes and stay as fresh as possible throughout the hike. When washing clothes in a body of water along the trail, you want to avoid contaminating the water source. If you need to properly wash your clothes in a water source, I'd recommend rinsing the clothes in the water, then taking some water away from the source in a bottle and moving at least 100 meters away. I personally use Wilderness Wash from Cedar Summit and add a tiny drop to each item, then vigorously clean as much of the item as possible, focusing on the dirty parts, i.e. the toes of your socks or the armpits of your shirt, and then using the water that you've collected to rinse the item away from the water. If you use too much soap, the rinsing will become a problem and will be a massive pain. If it's warm when I arrive at camp, I'll keep my hiking clothes on until it cools down, which helps the sweat to dry and will likely result in you being able to put on at least a relatively dry item in the morning. If I'm cold or wet, I'll change straight into the dry layers at camp and add waterproofs and insulation as needed. Managing your temperature is one of the biggest challenges while hiking. You'll want to anticipate your changing temperature and add or remove layers before you get too hot, cold, or sweaty. If you want more tips on staying comfortable while hiking, make sure to subscribe to the channel here. For warmth, I usually take both an active and a static layer. My active layer is something like an Alpha Direct or Polartec Active Fleece. Something like a Sambob or Farpoint Alpha or an Om Core hoodie are great, while my static layer is a lightweight down jacket like the Mont Zero. The reason you want to separate out these layers is that an active layer will breathe much more easily, resulting in you sweating a lot less while wearing it. A static layer can remain in your dry bag so that it's always going to be dry and warm when you get to camp. And something like a down jacket has an amazing warmth to weight ratio. While it's easy to think that you might need a thicker jacket than this, by the time you layer a merino base layer, an active layer, a puffer jacket, and a rain or wind jacket, you'll be toasty warm in even really cold conditions. Because of this, I recommend looking for a puffer jacket that's around the 200 to 300 gram mark. I generally prefer down here because I'm only using it at camp, so I can make sure to keep it dry during the day, and this offers better warmth for the weight once I'm at camp. But again, many people prefer synthetic options, and these work really well too. I haven't gone into specific products for everything here, so as a general guide, Icebreaker make great merino products. Brignier offers both merino and synthetic options with a fishnet style on some of their items that regulates temperature really well. And Mont and Om offer great synthetic alternatives. Om also has great shorts options, or for pants, Mont has plenty to choose from. For waterproof layers, I always take a rain jacket, ideally with pit zips or some other form of ventilation, along with rain pants. Depending on the forecast, you could possibly get away with a windproof layer and no rain pants, but but in the name of safety and comfort, it actually doesn't add too much weight if you invest in good quality rain gear. We stock Mont, Inselberg, and Montaigne, who all offer a great range of waterproof layers, with Mont offering a big range that covers most conditions, and Inselberg offering a range that's actually specifically designed for high mountains and activities that are super rough on gear. They also have a few windproof options if you'd prefer to go down that route. When it comes to rain jackets, it can be quite confusing to choose between different brands and specific models, especially as they range in weight massively, from around 150 grams to over 700. Even stranger still is that they often will give you very similar waterproof stats for massively varying weights, begging the question of why you'd go for the heavier one. The main reason they vary so much is due to the durability in the fabric and how susceptible they are to wetting out. Something like the Mont Lightspeed is a great lightweight rain jacket, but it's not actually designed to be used all day in wet weather with a heavy pack on, as this can prematurely wear through the fabric and make it wet out. A jacket like the Mont Odyssey, on the other hand, is designed specifically for hikers with a pack in mind. It's also a lot longer than other rain jackets, as it's designed to keep your hips dry and warm. This is a super helpful feature for hiking, but it adds some weight and makes it less versatile for other activities like climbing, where you need to lift your knees super high. For this reason, the Mont Mountain Pro exists in a similar weight, but with a more regular jacket cut. Now, perhaps controversially based on the information I've just given you, I would still actually recommend the Lightspeed for the Larapinta. That's because of how much lighter it is and due to the relatively dry conditions usually experienced on trail. For another hike like the Overland, I would strongly point you towards one of the other options that I've mentioned. So if you'll be doing a lot of hiking outside of this trail, consider all of your possible uses for the jacket before deciding on which one will suit you best. Other brands will of course also have similar types of jackets for similar purposes, but I know the Mont range really well, hence why I've only gone into detail on this one. If you're after a specific breakdown on another range that we stock, let me know in the comments below and I'll get onto that video. Now, layering keeps you warm, but you still need to eat and drink. In the next video, we're looking at lightweight cooking systems.